Hello everybody, it's our second lesson about line graphs, and yesterday we learnt the key idea that line graphs, which are these graphs with the, can you see here, we've got these data points, so things that we have measured, we put them onto a grid, onto a graph, and we then connect them with these straight lines. And a line graph shows how something has changed over time. So let's look at the title of this line graph. It says correct quiz answers on a test. Okay, so there's a test. Let's look along the bottom, along the x-axis here, and this will normally show the time. So what are we measuring in? Days, numbers of days. Okay, so this is day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Okay, so they did 4 tests that we can see. And they did them on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Okay, interesting. And now let's look at the y-axis, which is this axis going vertically up and down. So starting from 0, okay, that's the lowest score you can get on the test, 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, well, it looks like it might have been a test out of 20. And we can see correct answers, quiz answers on a test. So it starts off with a very low score. Maybe that's normal, the first day of the test. 3, then 4. So we can see the line shows it's going up, but it's quite flat. So not much change. Then it goes, oh, now we can see this line goes up much more steeply. So we can see that change. So the line shows the change, the going up, quite steeply. Goes to 12 and then continues to go up to 15. Okay. So what are we measuring? We're measuring the correct quiz answers. So if you like, it's your score out of 20 on the test over 4 tests. We don't know if that's one person or is it overall the class score, the class average. We don't know that. But it's that idea that the line graph is showing one thing changing over time, going up, going down, staying the same. Okay. So here's a line graph, and what's it all about? How do I know that? Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to use the title, don't I? A lot of children will just start looking at the lines. You should use the title. So the title, how many ice creams were sold on Ice Cream Friday? Ooh, Ice Cream Friday? Okay. We'll have some extra explanation. Every week in the summer term, St. Luke's School sells ice creams in the playground on Friday at home time to raise money for charity. Okay. So what are we measuring? Well, we've looked at the title at the top, and that's the first thing we should do. What's the second thing? Well, look along the bottom. Aha, what's it called? It's the x-axis that is showing time. Okay, week 1, because it says week, doesn't it? Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So this is showing us 10 weeks St. Luke's School did this for. And then on the y-axis, it's how many ice creams were sold. 0, okay, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, I get it. So what is changing here? What is the line graph measuring? What did we measure? Well, what's changing here is we're measuring how many ice creams were sold. That's what this line graph tells us, and it shows over 10 weeks. How was Ice Cream Friday doing? How many were they selling? More? Less? The same amount? Which were the best weeks? Which were the worst weeks? Okay, so the line graph shows how many, how many ice creams are sold every Friday, and that's what's changing. So let's try and read this line graph, which means understand. A data point. How many ice creams were sold in week 2? Okay, week 2. That's a time question, so I'll look along the bottom on the x-axis. Week 1, week 2, okay, going up to week 2, so I'm going to go up from week 2. I'm going to find the data point, that's that, remember that. Either a cross or a star or a circle very often, and we go across, but, oh no. Okay, hold on, what's the number? Well, now we need to look at the scale. Here is 20. 20 is this line here. 30 is here. Halfway between 20 and 30 is 25. So we are looking for a number, maybe 26, 27, 28, 29. I think if we read the scale, remembering to look halfway between 20 and 30, 25. So it's a little above 25, so a number like 26. How many ice creams were sold in week 2? 26 ice creams would be a reasonable answer, reading the scale carefully. Which week did they sell the fewest? Now, we had that word in the last lesson. I want us to know, it's not an easy word to know, the fewest, and it means the least or the smallest number. So what are we looking for on our graph? We're looking for the smallest number. Okay, we're looking for where the line goes lowest. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're looking for where the line goes low. Well, I can see it starts quite low over here, but no. Our lowest number must be this data point here. Is less than 10. Okay, in week 9. So remember, the question says which week. So we've got to answer which week. Well, in week 9. We could probably, if we wanted to add a bit more detail, we could say in week 9 they only sold 9 ice creams. That's not many ice creams to sell. Now we have the next question, which is to say, I wonder why they sold so few, such a small number of ice creams then. Well, it's very important when we get a graph or data to think, what's going on? I wonder what the pattern is. I wonder why we're getting those answers. Is that trend line going up? Does it go down? Does it go flat? What's happening? Because in real life, people use data to answer questions and tell them maybe what's been going on and what they should do next. That's the only point of it. Which week did they sell the fewest? Well, in week 9, I wonder why they sold so few ice creams. Well, why might people have bought how many ice creams in week 8? Well, more than 40. Maybe the school sold 43 ice creams the week before, and the week after they sold 50 ice creams, but only 9 ice creams. What's going on? Well, maybe we need to think about this. Maybe something happened. Maybe it was very cold. Maybe something happened and all the children were away on a school trip that day. Maybe it was really wet and no one wanted to queue up to get their ice creams. Maybe something else was happening. Maybe part of the school was closed that day, so some of the children were not in. But we've got to have a reason. We don't know exactly why, but we should be thinking, Why might that be? Okay, and now, how many fewer, remember that word, how many fewer, how many less, fewer, less, ice creams did they sell in week 4 compared to week 3? Okay, so we need to find the number for week 4, and that's reading up from 4, we find that it's 20. Then, how many in week 3? Well, here's week 3. Remember, we start in 3, we go all the way up, we find the data point for 3, and it's halfway between 30 and 40, so it's 35. We need to find the difference. How many less? Well, this part of the line, from here to here, is the part that is less. Because if we measured both of the lines up to 20, it's the same, isn't it? Here, up to here, it's the same, and this bit here is the bit that is more. How many more? And also, it's the question, how many less? It's the difference. This bit of the line here is the bit that is different. Yeah. Okay. So that. What are we? Oh. I hope that's still working. This bit is the bit that is the same. So the difference is 35 take away 20 is 15. 15 ice creams less. Okay. Now, remember, what have we been looking at? The things to make sure that we understand the line graph. Number 1, we've been look at the title. Then look at along the bottom for the x-axis, which normally show us how long it's been going on for, what the units of time are, how long did it go on for. Look at the y-axis, which is the axis going up and down. That'll tell you what you're measuring and what the units are. And then we've got to find the crosses or the circles on the graph line for the actual data points. But also, we need to look. There's another really important point here. I'm going to put it in this box, which is it is very important to look at the overall shape of the line and try and think what's going on and why. So you might notice that the overall thing with this is, doesn't it start low? Only 11 ice creams in that first week. It starts really low, and then it goes up quite quickly. Goes up, little dip, goes up, 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 up. It's getting more and more popular. I wonder why it started so low. What could the school have done to sell more ice creams for charity in that first week? Well, I wonder, was it too cold at the start of the term? Should they have started it a week or 2 later? I wonder whether they only sold 11 ice creams that week because people didn't know about it. Maybe they needed to put some posters up. Maybe they needed to do it in a place where people could see it more. So if you were running the ice cream fair, you would try and use this information. Okay, now, in a minute, I hope that you'll have a look at the work. So it's your work. We've got some questions about Ice Cream Friday, and then we've got another level, which is a little bit more challenging, but I know that a lot of you can do this. And it's about rainfall, how much rain falls in the country. So you can stop watching the video now, or if you like, for another minute, I thought I'd show you an interesting line graph. And this line graph shows you the average adult height by year of birth. So it shows you, for example, if you were born here in the year 1896, how tall were you if you were a man, if you're a male? And this, so that's the red line, and this blue line is how tall did you get to be if you're a woman. And this is the world height. So it actually covers a lot of different countries. Okay, so in 1896, if you were born in 1896 and you were a man, you grew to be perhaps about 162 to 163 centimetres tall. Now, fast forward, we can see this line going up. People were getting taller. People were getting taller. I wonder why people were getting taller. We can see very clearly. So by 1980 or so, yeah, we track the line down to about, a bit wobbly, maybe to about 1980, perhaps a little bit before. Well, we can see that the average height is now 172 centimetres. So people born in 1980 were, on average, 10 centimetres taller. And that's the same for women. Well, that's probably due to people being less poor, having much better food when they're babies, having much better medical care to their mothers, having much better food when their babies inside their mothers' tummies. And very interestingly, we can see that this line is starting to go down. And I thought, well, I wonder why that is. It's not that people are getting, seems that it's not that people are getting shorter, it's just that in the richest countries, where people have the best food and diet, and therefore they can grow to their highest, their full height, people in those countries are not having as many babies. So overall, the average world height has gone down very slightly. And let's hope it goes up. Let's hope it goes up to show that in the future, many more people around the world are having the chance to eat and eat as much as they can to grow healthy. Okay, see you later everyone. Enjoy your work. Bye.